The evolution of gender identity and the understanding of pronouns is a key objective of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts, or DE&I. As the spectrum of humanity grows, so should our recognition in and out of the workplace for those who land along that range of existence. Take-Two Interactive champions itself as a come-as-you-are corporate entity, generating a safe and welcoming space for all people.
It's incredibly important that a person's identity be respected in and out of the workplace, because when someone doesn't feel respected, it prohibits them from bringing their full, brilliant self into the workspace. It's a business imperative and it's a social imperative that there be continuity between someone's personal truth and how they can show up and contribute to a working environment.
For queer folk, it's this weird balance of, do you come out at work? How do you come out at work? And that's what you run into, is you have to make that decision. Is my workplace going to be supportive? Are people going to think that me talking about my sexual orientation at work is any different than you talking about your spouse? Are you going to act like my pronouns are an imposition on you and not a learning opportunity?
It is just a fundamental right. We all have a right to be here. We all belong. The workplace should, welcome us, whoever we are, whatever our background is, our family situation, whatever it is, we belong, and everyone belongs.
We, I think in our society in particular, have been very conditioned to expect and understand that we're going to have a multifaceted life, right? We're one person in public, we're one person with our family, we're one person in business. And I think what we've all very much been conditioned to understand is that if we want to be successful in business, our identity ceases to exist, which is not true in practice or in theory.
It's so important to have your identity respected so that you can bring yourself to work and bring your whole self up, not just the parts of code switch to assimilate into something which you are not, but to be able to bring your own worth.
It's not always easy to bring your authentic self to work, and particularly when it's a new company or a new space to be in. It's hard to walk straight in, feel accepted, and honestly feel celebrated in being your authentic self. And I think it's really important that we encourage that within the people that we have, within the brands that we work with, within the companies that we want to work in and for.
People who experience anti-queer sentiment in any sort of discriminatory or violent means, so that could be discrimination at your job, being fired from your job, specific incidences of hate speech. People who experience 4 of those or more in a year are, I think, 92% more likely to attempt suicide within the queer community. You can cut that immediately just by respecting somebody's pronouns, respecting their gender identity, respecting their sexual orientation.
Who doesn't want continuity between who they are as a person and how they can show up in their work, especially considering how many hours we spend, right, working and being in partnership and sharing our brilliance, right? If I personally don't feel respected, it's going to be really hard for me to take risks, which means I'm not positioned to innovate, right, and break boundaries.
Just having these really impactful conversations has helped us to see ways that we can impact our communities as well. So making sure that, you can see on the Zoom, my pronouns are displayed. That's not something that I would have done before, but it's impactful and it does make a difference. And it does make folks who don't go by those cisgendered pronouns to feel comfortable using their pronouns.
They've given us the ability to roll out some trainings as well. We recently did a training on pronouns, which was incredible. We had a huge amount of participation from all across the organization. And again, that was all through the support that we got from 2K as a brand, to help us really kind of raise the awareness of some of the issues that we face and to help people feel a lot more included and create a community that feels a lot more inclusive, not just within our ERG, but within the brand as a whole.
One of our mantras here is come as you are. And so I believe that 2K has definitely allowed us to come as we are, and they've stuck to that as that the meaning of come as you are continues to evolve in the society that we currently live in.
Your identity is what makes you you, and you might fit within various different groups, you might identify in certain ways, but your makeup of those different groups and those different traits will never be represented exactly the same anywhere else. So I think it's super important for people to always be open to learning more about the things they aren't already knowledgeable about, but just in general, just be kind to each other.
So our ERG formed out of the need and desire to simply exist, to take up space, not just within our organization, but within the gaming industry as well. Since forming together at 2K, we've been able to create a space for people to come as they are, which is one of our company values as well.
Take-Two's core values are creative, innovative, and efficient, and you can't do any of those if you're only pulling from the same people that everyone else has been pulling from for years. Because I recognize for a lot of folks here, I'm actually the first non-binary person they've met in person that they know about. And I'm certainly the one they've probably spent the most time with. But I get that there is a learning curve for people, and I'm happy to be the educator in that. I'm happy to be patient and to extend grace and charity because people are learning. And for the most part, they want to learn on purpose. They don't want to make mistakes. And that sometimes is what prompts some of the awkwardness that happens.
So to increase representation in gaming, it really comes down to the 3 T's, right? Time, talent, and treasure. I think by growing LGBT executives, there won't be a question about representation and diversity. That's the greatest gift, right? Is employment and empowerment and resources. That's the number one thing they can do, because there's such a difference between, I think, what you call authentic representation, which is I see someone else represent me in a way which feels right, and systemic representation, which is giving diverse people the power to express themselves across a host of issues. They're two very different things. You know it when you see it.